Hello, good morning. Why isn't this right? A second. Good morning, Clara, Kevin, Laura, Meme. Hello, hello, hello. There we go. Hello, hello, everybody. Happy Thursday. Almost made it to the weekend. Today's gonna be a wild day. Today's gonna be a wild day. A wild west. Wicked wild. What's up, Philip? Hey, Jeremiah. How was everyone's day yesterday? What's the GOP doing now? I mean, they're just, it's more of the same. Just freaking out about calling everything communism, saying we need to, Mike Johnson was on, I think yesterday, talking about how we need to, Republicans need to win because Democrats win, they're going to bring on a communist nation and all that bullshit. Hey, Ambrosia. And I guess the DSA put out new policies. I don't know if it was today or yesterday or whatever. So now they're all freaking out about that. Their new 2026 platform, I guess. We're like on the edge of it, Ambrosia. Right. Even though the government having stock in tech companies, there's no way that's... Oh, and by the way, you want to know why? I've also found out why the billions upon billions of dollars that the government put into those Trump accounts. Guess who got most of the, guess where most of the money went? Into the big tech companies in the stock market. Yeah, the ones that they can't, the $1,000 that they can't access until they're 18. his buddies. Yep. And that has magically become mandatory and the parents can't opt out of. Well, yeah, I mean, it's in the grand scheme of things, it's free money for the kids. I'm not against that. I'm against the way they're doing it, but I'm not against them having money that they don't like. It's just $1,000. It's just gonna sit there. If it loses money, okay. If it gains money, okay. I don't like the way we're doing it, but it's not all it's artificially bringing the stock market up, which isn't a good thing, in my opinion. Artificially boosting the stock market. Correct. They are automatically created with the birth certificate process. Yes, that is my understanding. Oh yeah, I hate how it's feeding the tech bros. Correct. It's just a way for the government to boost the stocks of the people that have the rich people that have stocks in those already. Yep. Under the guise of helping the kids. They would serve the children far better if they took that money, invested it, and used the gains to give kids free health care. Well, sorry, I'm reading, I guess, the new DSA, updated DSA platform. Yes, yes, sir. I'm going to be streaming it tonight. I didn't recognize Ossoff's game until yesterday. He kind of went hard at Kelsey's replacement. Yeah. I mean, I'm glad he's going hard. Well, and the funny thing is if you read their updated ones, you can tell that the the people that are flipping out about it aren't actually paying attention to what they're saying, which isn't a surprise, right? We're they're trying to start a Red Scare 2.0. And because of that, they're going to read everything from a perspective of not what's being said. That doesn't say I agree with everything they're saying, but like they want to turn our legislature into one that is similar to that of a lot of the European nations. They want to get rid of the Senate and just have the House of Representatives, but have the House of Representatives be bigger and do more things. And do most of the things. Which arguably is better than what we're doing right now. I mean, these are just general statements, so it's really hard to say in practice what that would actually look like, but this idea that having a Senate is the most absolute necessary thing that we've got, it ignores the fact that most countries don't do it, but I know we're exceptional. So and again, do I think it's perfect? Like, I don't agree with their economic democracy one. Establish public ownership of the largest corporations and essential industries to ensure democratic control and accountability to the people. At least not that part. At least how my brain reads that part. I think sometimes certain groups of people think that the American people could handle, like any person in America could handle being a leader. Fancy way of saying seize the means of production. Oh, I understand. I understand. Which is one of the reasons why my specific perspective on things like even the wealth taxes is not just to tax them, it's to set things up in such a way that it's better, it is more better for them to spend it on people and not just hold it than it is to give it to the than it is to not and then give it to the government. Like, I've seen people be like, if I would pay 95% if I thought that it would help, but it won't because the government doesn't know how to spend money. And it's like, yeah, well, I agree, they don't. But we also need to, which is why things like you just make it so it's actually better for them to spend the money and not hold on to it. Right now, it's better for them to hold on to it. Yeah, I saw that the national DSA is not doesn't think that she is as tough on the I country as they want her to be. I saw that. Well, again, even if I agreed that everything they say is the way that we should go, we can't just snap a finger and go that way anyways. Which is why I think it's ridiculous that they're even doing what they're doing. Like, even if that's the way they want it to go, I know they think that they've got this massive amount of support, which again, they do to some extent, but I don't think it's in the way they think it is. Most people hear one or two of the things and they support that, but I guarantee they don't support all of it. Most. I can guarantee. Good to remember that nobody's going to make an instant change. I joined in 16. It feels that DSA is just being used, not actually looked at. You already said that mostly. It will fade. Yep. Because again, in the grand scheme of things, we are still a two-party system. And a two-party system does not have the capability of going to extremes. I mean, a multi-party system. Systems in general don't have the ability to go to extremes, at least not for very long. It always gets pushed. It always gets pressed. Because a majority of the people in any country are not going to be an extreme in one direction or the other. See, I don't think it's possible to abandon civilization and technology in 2026. Could we actually succeed in a massive change of government structure? Could we? Not quickly. Not quickly. It would all involve constitutional changes, which still would require 3/4 of the states. That's the part that people don't get. Like, you get a bunch of DSA members in Congress. So what? So what? What did people think they're going to do? None of those platforms that DSA members are running on can be done easily. A lot of them couldn't be done without a constitutional amendment, which requires 3/4 of the states to ratify. So in the end, it doesn't matter what they want. That's the part they don't get. In our lifetime? No, probably not in our lifetime. The only way you could get a complete change of government structure in our lifetime is following a collapse, a societal collapse, quickly. Chief, liar in chief will talk voter fraud. He's the only one that can fix it. Blah, blah. Yeah. Yep. Well, yeah, we also need most of the people that are voters, a vast majority of them, to be people that are part of this new world society, like post-internet society. As long as until everyone who spent a majority of their life without the internet are no longer at least the ones at least the ones in charge, I don't think you're going to get. It was never a left and right anymore. Morning, OC. I didn't say Republicans value life less. Roro. It's yeah, Helen. It's those that have humanity and those that lack humanity. Hey, DGS. It's hard when well, everyone tends to call Republicans MAGA. Yep, that is true. For good reason, but that I was very specific. Why did everyone stop talking about the files? That was our chance to make a change. They haven't stopped talking. People are still talking about them. We've been talking about them a lot. How does MAGA value life less? I mean, it all depends. I guess to an extent, it depends on the specific MAGA, but there are lots of MAGA that don't care about the lives that are being lost because of, and just want things to happen. You want less immigration, that's fine. But you don't care that people are losing their life because of the cubes. Or you're trying to blame them instead of actually looking at the problem. Ignoring the women that are losing their life because of the choices made post Roe v. Wade. MAGA comes into my DMs all the time and threatens my life. And my friends' lives. I did, Ambrosia. I did see the clip from Necessary Conversation where their mom came around finally. I did see that and actually said abolish ICE. The fact that their mom did that shows how bad. Shows how bad. What's up, Lewis? I saw that there was no reason to put out the rest. People, sure. I've gotten lots of DMs of people threatening me. Why? Because I stand for the things that progressives stand for, and they've been told to hate all progressives. Nobody's destroying the Democratic Party. The Democratic Party is a corporation. It's not how it works, Richard. Thanks for playing. Good morning. No, they're not. You don't even know what it means to be a communist, but thanks for playing. Yep. The fact that you are actually saying that means you don't know what you're talking about. You cannot like communism. Arguably, I could agree with not liking communism, especially pure communism. I don't think it would work. But saying dumb things like that. Hey, Candace. She said she's closer to leaving Trump. I think taking her out of the Newsmax cycle was huge. Yeah. Yeah. Her husband, their dad, being in the hospital took her out of that cycle, and it helped a lot. And again, I have no issue with people not liking certain forms of government. That is fine. In the end, I don't care what we call ourselves. I care what we do and stand for. Yes, that's fine, Ollie Bear. But again, just like with women when it comes to men, when you get enough threats from MAGA, it's going to be all of you till it's none of you. I assume every single day I'm going to get at least one threat or one person who says, I can't wait until you burn in the fiery depths of hell. I'm going to laugh when you burn in the fiery depths of hell. I can't count how many times I get that. So do you go along with America becoming a socialist country? Go along with? I go along with America doing things that help all Americans. Socialism is also just a word. I care what we actually do. We need to stop this. That's what I stand for. If a majority of Americans can't afford healthcare, we need to do something to make it so people can afford healthcare. If people can't afford housing, we need to do something that makes it so people can afford housing. Just telling people to get a better job doesn't fix the problem. Because that's the only thing that I'm hearing from people on the right. That is not why rental costs have gone up, Bruce. The fact that you're saying that shows you don't understand how the economy is working. The government isn't paying for it. We are. We pay our taxes. Our taxes are what the government spends. Very convenient. Only elections under Trump's watch. National intel. Has there been supposed widespread fraud? That is true. He never said fraud existed when Biden or Obama were actually president. He is not going to rile up MAGA to shut down the midterms. They can't shut down the midterms. You're not pro-life. You're not pro-life. If you come up with this big idea, make millions, you should spread your wealth. Yes. Because you're not the one doing everything. You saying you're pro-life doesn't make it true. I do not believe you are pro-life, not based on how you guys act. You don't act pro-life. You don't care about the life of all people. You care about the life of certain people. Same, Christina. Oh, you're saying I'm brainwashed? Money if we have to give it away. I don't think there should be an ambition to make big money. Why should we have an ambition to make big money? I've voted blue and red throughout my voting career. I vote based on my fundamentals, not based on the color or the letter next to their name. Nope. That is false, Stephen. You do not care about all lives. Blue is best. A vast majority of the people that align with my fundamentals currently fall under the Democratic Party. That is true. Women, immigrants, Black people, Hispanic people, the LGBTQIA people, non-Christians. That's whose lives And how? By the laws that you're trying to pass, by the rhetoric that you are spewing. Poor people. Not wasting. Okay. Goodbye. Thanks for letting me know. I love when people announce that they're leaving. It's so funny. Oh my gosh. You're right. And only citizens do vote. Only citizens are allowed to vote. Not what you're hearing from who? From who? The Heritage Foundation did a study on the last 20 years of voting, billions of votes, and they found 1,000 votes that were done that shouldn't have gone through. Why? Mail-in ballots are fine. You obviously don't know how mail-in balloting works if you say something stupid like that. Hey, Patty. No, Queen Margie, I wasn't talking to you. I have given proof. The laws you've passed and the rhetoric you spew. I'm in North Carolina. Hey, April. I have no idea, Prairie. I don't know what stations are going to carry the prime time address. Hey, Betty. How are things in New York? We need voting ID to prove you are citizens, not undocumented. They're not voting. Undocumented citizens, non-citizens are not voting. You know, you're not becoming a communist in New York. You don't even know what communism is, but no, you're not. Not even a little bit. I'm not particularly proud of Iran. Iran's government is no better than ours. Doesn't change the fact that we started this war that we can't win. I'm not your buddy. Hello, how are things in Connecticut? You don't have to love the country you live in. There's no law about that. That's how you get things changed. What's up, Scott? I didn't see you ask a question, Jenny. I'm sorry. What's your stance here? For or against MAGA? I'm against MAGA. I'm against anyone that goes against my fundamentals. How do you feel about Israel? I do not like what they are doing to other people. And I do not believe we should be funding their ability to do what they're doing. Do you believe in God? I am a Christian, yes. Thank you. Thank you, Sheila. Appreciate you. Guys, for everyone who's here, please tap that nose. Please share the live with other people. That's the first thing that I've heard you say that sucks. Okay. I don't think we should be supporting anybody that does what that country is doing.
Well, I'm glad you brought me up. I just got a notice that you muted me.
Yeah, I did it by accident.
I was going to say I'd often deserve to be muted, but not before I've even come up.
Unmute. There you go. You're unmuted. That was
Well,
weird.
that's cool.
It was like I clicked to bring you up and you didn't come up. I was like, oh shoot, what did I do? I knew I'd done something. I think I had a tremor hit right as I was clicking and my hand moved to the right.
All's well that ends well.
Yep. I'm glad I didn't block you.
I probably deserve to be blocked, but I don't know if you're discussing yesterday's testimony. My only thoughts on that, and I know it's probably a very unpopular position, and I'm not happy to say it. I think that Blanche did well enough to get confirmed, but it's going to be an awfully close vote. You know, he seemed to achieve the only thing that's left to be achievable in these
is not seem worse than someone else could be.
Yeah, well, to begin with, the bar is set very low with Pam Bondi. All he had to do was go up there and not drool, and he would have done better than Bondi. And that's the comparison, unfortunately. That's how low we've sunk, is that if you're better than Pam Bondi, you must have been successful. And he avoided the landmines. And what I mean by that is since the 1980s with Judge Bork, and that was started by the Democrats. They sandbagged him in the confirmation hearings and really changed the nature of confirmation hearings ever since. And now nobody tells the truth. Everybody is vague. Everybody deflects. Everybody just tries to avoid stepping on a landmine. And by those slim standards, do I think that Blanche did well enough? It's going to be awfully close. I tend to think he did. It looks like Tillis is now leaning towards approving him, and Cornyn is 50-50.
Yeah. Yeah, I was disappointed in Tillis. I mean, it's not a surprise. I have often been disappointed in Tillis. Again, and this is why I will keep saying that they don't actually value human life. So,
well, they don't value human life, and it's all a game to them. And we learned nothing yesterday. We learned that Todd Blanche is good at deflecting. That we learned. He's more polished at deflecting than Pam Bondi was. He thankfully, from his point of view, didn't show up with a binder full of canned insults to hurl at the senators, which obviously did Pam Bondi no good. She got fired 2 days later. So, and I really think it's a shame because this guy is more dangerous than Pam Bondi, because Pam Bondi at least was pretty dumb. This guy isn't as stupid as she is, so he can be dangerous, and he's just as crazy as Pam Bondi.
the fact that you think that you can guarantee our morals won't ever align is hilarious, because our morals are the only things that are what shape our society. And if you think the problem is that our morals don't align, you think that, no, I know our morals don't align, at least in some sense. I think to some sense that in some ways they do. I just think I think people agree. I think people on the right are willing to not give those beliefs to all people. No, we don't agree. But again, it's our morals that make the society. So how can I not appeal to your morals? That is the problem. The problem is morality, or the lack thereof in some cases.
Cece says, Scott, you try and make yourself feel better. What do you mean by that, Cece? Could you be more articulate, or is that a little bit beyond your capabilities?
Exactly what? You don't align with my fundamentals. And that's why I can't take people like you seriously. No, you don't take me seriously because you don't actually care. You don't care. You'd have us weak? Ah! Oh, that was a good one. What are your fundamentals? All people, no matter your race, religion, gender, or identity, deserve rights, respect, dignity, and safety. Brother, you would let us be chewed up and spit out. Man, you just keeps these it's like he's reading a friggin', it's like he's you'd have us chewed up and wait, I gotta do it right.
You'd have us chewed up and spit out.
Wait, why is that?
You'd have us chewed up and spit out.
See, I disagree with what you said as well. Okay. Yeah. I have no doubt that you disagreed with what I said. Thoughts on Pete's new gender affirming care plan? Well, it's nice to see that he's all for gender affirming care again. Past that, I'm not surprised with this with him anymore. I mean, I am, but I'm also not.
You know, Mike, one would tend to think that the Secretary of Defense would be worried about the fact that we can't produce enough 155 millimeter shells, that we can't produce enough Patriot missiles, that we can't produce enough SAM missiles on a $1 trillion budget. So it's nice to know, it's gratifying to know that Pete Hegseth is focused on the real problem facing America in our geostrategic position, which, of course, is low testosterone.
Right.
That it's a good thing to know that he's really got his eye focused on the important issues. I mean, this would be laughable if it wasn't so serious.
Trendy, you specifically said that you don't agree with my you don't agree with my fundamentals. If you don't agree with my fundamentals, how can we have a conversation about anything? It's not a I'm a nationalist. Oh, I no doubt about that one. No doubt about that one. How can we have a conversation about anything when we don't agree on fundamentals? It's not an echo chamber. I just won't. There's nothing to talk about with people that don't even align with our baseline.
And Pete Hegseth thinks that all this is going to save him, but there's going to be a price to be paid for what has happened in Iran. And guess who's going to pay it? It's not going to be Donald Trump. He always loves scapegoats, and Pete Hegseth, the clock is ticking on him.
Do I think the tea issue is important? No. No, I don't. I think only, in my personal opinion, you have to be the weakest, most emotional person to think that the problem is low key.
Yeah, Laura has him on the bingo card too. I agree, Laura. And I guess the over-under is who gets bounced first, Cash or Pete?
And Trendy, what do you mean, what does it matter when we're talking politics? Politics literally are people's lives. The decisions that politicians make involve the lives of human beings. How can you think that our morals don't come into that? That's literally the basis of how we see the world. Back before the abolition of slavery, it was considered moral to own slaves. Morality changed, so we stopped owning slaves. That's all we have as a society. Try and we deplatformed ourselves from the top. America did that. We didn't do it. We are not still at the top. We are the alpha.
Brother.
We're the alpha dogs, brother.
And to remain that way, some eggs. Oh my gosh.
Yep, those eggs have to be cracked regardless of the Constitution. We don't need no stinking Constitution.
Why would you give why would I give a shit about humanity? I don't give a shit about their government. Their government is a piece of shit. I do care about the American lives that are lost, the money that we're wasting, and the fact that nothing is actually changing and human lives are being lost. We disagree there. There's nothing to disagree about. They're human beings. A whole school of girls. Well, fuck you too. No, it was not proven to be Iran. It was actually proven to be the United States, Scott. It was proven that they were using old data and AI chose the target. It was absolutely proven to be the United States. But thank you.
And luckily, there was film at it which showed that it was a Tomahawk cruise missile, which is owned by the United States.
They had like 6-year-old data, 6-year-old imagery. They are humans that chose to go into the military. That the girls in that school didn't choose
They
to
were
go
school
into
children.
the military.
They were school children. They weren't in the military. They had nothing to do with the IRGC.
We went in there we did what we did for no reason. Again, two things can be true at the same time. I am against the Iranian government the way it stands. They are absolutely wretched human beings. But don't pretend that we didn't start this for no reason. Yeah, he wasn't supposed to be starting any wars. He literally ran on starting no wars. And yet somehow y'all are okay with spending hundreds of billions of dollars and losing American lives. And all it's done is cost the average American person more money. We're not getting anything out. His friends are getting tons of money. But the average American person? No. You're correct, Todd. Both of them are war criminals. I know, Days of. I know. You right. Which is why I don't debate. Well, it'll be online. I mean, it'll go through YouTube.
That's an interesting question. I read, but this is now 48 hours old, that the networks have neither approved nor disapproved his request for airtime, with the exception of Fox News, which is, of course, no surprise.
So why did he do it? The iCountry convinced him to do it. So for the last 20 years, Bibi has been saying that they are 2 weeks away, and most presidents were smart enough to not listen. He convinced him that it was happening. He convinced him that it was necessary. He convinced him that it would be over it would be over as quickly as Venezuela.
Well, that's the key for understanding Trump's reasoning. He viewed this, despite being told apparently
The
by all
CIA
his,
told him. Sorry, keep going.
yeah.
I didn't mean to interrupt.
Well, that's okay.
I remembered
you
that story.
You stole my next sentence. He learned from the CIA that they called it fatuous. That's their word, not mine. What Bibi told him. But the main thing is, we can blame Bibi, but this is something Donald Trump wanted to do. Donald Trump doesn't do anything that he doesn't want to do. And he viewed this completely through the prism of Venezuela. He doesn't understand strategy. In fact, he's never understood what strategic thought even is. And he thought that this would be another replay of Venezuela. You bomb them for 3 days, they surrender, he gets another easy victory that he can parade before the American people. Quite obviously, everybody in this chat and everybody on planet Earth, except for Donald Trump, understood that Venezuela and Iran, that's like comparing apples and oranges. That is two completely different animals.
That's like comparing apples to aircraft carriers.
Yeah. Yeah.
Also a good distraction. Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. So here's the thing about Trump, and you can tell by the way he talks about it. All he cares about at this point is what his what the books are going to say about him. That's what he cares about. He wants to have things written about him, about all the good things that he has done, quote unquote. His legacy. Probably because he knows he's not going to be around much longer, whether he's willing to admit it out loud or not.
Well, we're not even talking about being around on planet Earth. He realizes that when he loses the House, he won't have any more legislation. So he's busy. And by the way, he's not unusual with this. In the last 2 years of an 8-year presidency, most presidents focus on legacy. With Donald Trump, it's become an obsession.
You don't care about the fact that the choices that are made by this administration are endangering the lives of people? That is a moral thing too, Brandy. People not being able to afford to pay their bills because of choices made by this administration is caring about life. Just because you are in a situation where you don't have to worry about gas doesn't mean the rest of us could be much different than you think. What? I care about life, not gas. Even if not being able to get that gas causes people to lose life, because having gas and being able to go places is required. What do you want, Kamala over Trump? Hell yeah. In a second. like in a second, in a millisecond. I would flip that switch faster than friggin' than the Flash would. I never thought I needed gas to live. Well, then you obviously don't understand how the world works. No, I love America. That's why I want to do things to make America better. Lost 7 swing states. So, barely lost 7 swing states.
What's your point, DSA? Nobody's disputing that Donald Trump won the election of 2024 by 1.5 points, but nobody's disputing that.
barely doesn't count? Sure it does. The Electoral College is it's like saying the economy is good because of the stock market. Like, you could win by 100 votes in California. That's still barely a win, even though you're going to get how many electoral votes because of it? A lot. Electoral College is not perfect. Oh my gosh. Man, these are good today. I got some real comedians out there. The Electoral College is perfect. First off, nothing is perfect ever.
You're getting the craziest of the crazies today.
User blah, 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 blah. What do you think it means to be a socialist or communist America, which are two different things, by the way? Democratic Party is not split into two different parties any more than the Republican Party is split into two different parties, which you could argue that is too. Biden did not give illegal immigrants free health care.
God almighty.
You know, Judith, it goes up and down. You never know what you're going to get. No, he didn't. No, he didn't. Defund the police. I don't think the police should be doing everything that the police are doing. I think some of the money we put into police should instead go into actually fixing the problems that cause the police to have as much work, quote unquote, as they have. You will never live your dreams. Like in Cuba. You obviously know nothing about Cuba. But thanks for playing. Biden did not give free health care to illegal immigrants. We do not need more police. No, he didn't. East Berlin.
What?
Oh my gosh.
Berlin hasn't been divided since the fall of the Berlin Wall.
Do you think that children should learn that the LGBTQ community exists and what they stand for and that those people are real? Yes. Yes, I do. Because those people are real and they exist, and kids should know that. Meanwhile, in Kentucky, where is Mitch McConnell? Well, for anyone that's interested, I will be watching it live tonight. Who knows what's going to happen, but it'll probably involve me yelling a lot. At what age, though? From the beginning, they should know that they exist. Because if you talk to people, the people that were that knew they were when they were super young. Teaching kids that people exist that don't see the world or are different than they are, that's important. What do you think's going to happen if they learn that someone in the LGBT community exists? What do you think is going to happen? Do I think he will live till November? I don't know. Why not listen to who first before judging? Me or Trump? I've heard way too much of Trump already.
By the way, it's been repeated in chat. People who are undocumented immigrants can get Medicaid. They cannot. Probably the program you are thinking of is something called emergency Medicaid, which covers a sudden or some sort of severe condition so that they can keep people alive. That's what the law says.
Yes, I understood everything I heard from Kamala. Way more than Donald Trump, who literally on TV said, "They're eating the dogs. They're eating the cats." Trump is the epitome of a word salad. You're good, Kat. I completely understand for those of you that can't be there tonight. Have you been to Ohio lately? Oh my. I know people that live in Ohio. I talked with people that live in Ohio. I had plenty of people over the years, over the days, over the weeks in these chats that live in Ohio. I don't know. Ty asked if I've been to Ohio lately. He's old, just like Biden was. Yup. Yup. I don't want any old people. I was watching Chuck Grassley speak yesterday, and I wanted to. That man doesn't have his own thoughts on anything. He's literally every statement that man made during the entire day was written down for him.
Not only that, he really abused, frankly, the procedures of a committee hearing. You're given X amount of time, and that goes for the chairman of the committee as well. And he was using every break to basically get more time to do a promo for Todd Blanche. No, that's improper.
But in terms of any of the old people in Congress or the president, they need to go. Schumer needs to go. I cannot stand Chuck Schumer. Oh,
You need
Yes,
to
he is,
go.
Bonnie. You are correct. He's running a little bit behind in the polls.
by the way, for everyone that's given, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. Kamala a puppet too. Okay. Okay.
Amanda, how old is Grassley now? Is he above 90?
92.
He's
He's
92? Yeah, he
92.
looks it.
There should be an age limit, a retirement age limit for all elected officials.
You know, Mike, you have to retire as an air traffic controller. I believe it's at age 56, and the reason given is it's a very important job, and indeed it is. I tend to think that being a senator, a Supreme Court justice, or a president is a pretty damned important job too. So I'm not saying 56, but 65, that'd be a good cutoff.
And again, I think all demographics should be equally represented in Congress. Not just racial, but generational. Because each group has things that they're dealing with that the other groups don't have to deal with. But what's going on right now is ridiculous. The fact that it's mostly old white people is wild.
Yeah, bro. I mean, I would take 70. I think somebody else in chat said 65, and I tend to agree with 65. Well, let's split the difference, call it 67. You know, I'm 69 years old, and I think I'm way too old to be a senator or a Supreme Court justice.
Limited term too. Well, I think I'd be okay with a limited term if, for at least the House, we extended how long the term was. Because the fact is they really only get about a year to do anything, and then they're running for office again. I understand why they did a 2-year term for people in the House, but in unless we want to change the way we do politics to become more like some other countries do, where they aren't allowed to really run for office until like a few months before or something like that. And there's limits on money and all that other stuff. Like there's just nothing until you get closer. It's too much work. It's too much work. No one will do it. No one will do it if you give them term limits, but they still have to run basically every other year.
Yeah, Mike, but what they're talking about with term limits, I don't think you need to increase it more than 2 years, because they're talking about like, you know, five terms, and you're out after 5 terms. They're not saying you can only serve 1 term when they talk about term limits for the
I
House.
understand that, but still, that's a lot of. I think it's too much work in general. I think every 2 years is too much. I understand that there are positives to it, and that is something that I have struggled with, is the positives potentially to it. But having interacted now with people that are running for Congress as much as I have in the last 7 months, the idea of telling someone to do that is again, it's part of the reason that we as a society are exhausted too, right? Like, we're exhausted because we're lucky if we get a year of peace before this starts all over again.
Well, I mean, you know, the main positive, and the reason that the House of Representatives is called the People's House is that with a 2-year term, you're tethered to the people much more closely than you are as a senator, where you're in there for 6 years. You can ignore your constituents for 4 years of those 6 years if you feel like it.
Except they're doing
So
it
that's
anyways.
the positive. The negative is what you've already pointed out. Unfortunately, what the founders didn't foresee when they wisely, I thought, made it 2 years for the House, what they didn't foresee was running for re-election costing a lot of money. So now we have a governance where they legislate for 1 year and then they just start raising money for their second year. So you're quite right.
Well, and it's just all about raising money all the time. I mean, they friggin' basically they charge you the this the speaker basically charges you to be put on different committees. Like if you want certain positions, you need to raise certain amounts of money. Oh, I don't think there should be any outside funding. I think so. Again, this is what I support, and actually some of the people running support it too, but we've got a lot to do to get there. I don't think any outside money should be allowed for any position anywhere. And this is minimum. There's two different possibilities that I've heard. So the one that's closer to the one that we live in right now, you should only be allowed to raise money from your districts or your state. That's it. Can be no outside money from anyone. Corporations cannot give. Only the people.
What about unions? If you're going to bar corporations, what about unions?
Same with unions.
In or out?
Out.
Got it. You realize that as of now, that's unconstitutional, so you would have to change the Constitution to do that.
Well, we'd have to change the Constitution, get rid of Citizens United anyways, so yeah.
Bingo, that's what I was getting at. Yep.
I understand that. Or we'd have to get a group of...
A new court.
A new court that would argue that corporations aren't people and all that kind of stuff. But again, but even farther, like if I had my way, who was it? Tim's his whiskey. I can never say his last name. He's running in the 1st District of Virginia too. He wants to basically make it that everyone who is officially on the ballot gets a certain amount of money from the government for advertising, and that's all that they can use.
Well, we had that at the presidential level. We had that. That was one of the Watergate reforms. You had presidential campaigns were paid for by the tax dollars, and they couldn't raise outside money. But it was set at 40 million for each party. But of course, that's nothing compared to the amount of money they can raise today. So they opted out, the candidates opted out of getting free money and said, nah, I think I'll raise my own money. And they go out and raise $1 billion.
Yeah.
So if you're going, I totally agree with public financing of campaigns. I can't think of a better expenditure of tax dollars than to end all outside money. And we pay for it ourselves. And each party gets the same amount of money.
And here's the thing. It would also neuter the corporate power of the parties, which is part of the problem. I mean, again, I know they don't raise as much as they used to, but that doesn't change the fact that it's still a corporation that they are still corporations. And if it's not about money at that point, super PACs and corporate are a huge part of the problem. I mean, just money in general. The ability to get money from pretty much anywhere at this point is the problem.
Well, most of the money is now raised, especially after Citizens United and its progeny, the cases that have followed Citizens United, which has taken the handcuffs off of dark money. Mm-hmm. And that's the real problem. I mean, that's the big money being raised. People talk about the RNC and the DNC. They're paper tigers. They have no authority. They have very little power. They're nothing more than scheduling organizations. That's all they do. The real money is in the dark money. It's in the PAC money.
Yeah. Holly, I don't love those. I don't love them. No one I know loves them. Who's on the left? Progressives, leftists, Democrats. No one I know loves them. It's not a love-hate thing.
The issue, Holly, from a certain perspective, is who has the choice to make those decisions. Does a woman have agency over her own body, or doesn't she?
I'll be right back.
It isn't an issue of people loving abortions. That's quite frankly a rather, well, you were trolling, so you obviously didn't mean to be serious with that.
You see, Elon has been charged for election fraud and bribery in Wisconsin. I did. Again, you're talking to someone. I mean, I'm a guy, so it really shouldn't be my place no matter what. But if I could have kids, I wouldn't personally have one of those. I'm still pro-choice. I don't think anyone should be telling someone what they can and can't do with their own body. You want to convince someone to care. If you want to have a conversation that we as a society should make it easier in the sense of affordability, safety, protections, things like that for people to have kids, I'm all for that. Let's have that conversation. Let's talk about it.
Yeah, and Holly, the issue isn't, if you don't believe in abortion, that's fine. Nobody's disputing that. But the issue is, I don't have a right to tell you, Holly, what you can do with your body.
No, Mama Gator, that's not the point. You're still not getting the point. Why is this so hard to understand? Most of the time, it has to do with religion. If we're being honest. And again, I'm a Christian, so I know. It's most of the time, in most cases, it has to do with religion.
Yes, I would agree with you to a point, Mike. It started out most of the time it had to do with religion, and now it has become a political talking point. Unfortunately,
Well,
it is morphed into a way to influence elections.
See, Wes, and I understand that, and again, we don't need to go into the specifics about what the Bible does and doesn't say, because the fact is most Christians have never agreed on what the Bible says about most things. So, unfortunately, while true, those arguments don't move the needle at all.
Well, they also don't move the needle in the United States specifically because we are by design a secular nation. That's what the Constitution requires in terms of our governance.
See, Mama Gator, you say that grape is totally different. The problem is the people that say that they are pro-life, the laws that are being passed and the way that it is being affected in this country is not working that way. It's not coming out that way. And Mama Gator, that second line you said
that's brutal.
Is disgusting. And you should be disgusted for even typing those words.
It's literally a revolting statement. Revolting.
I'm literally nauseous seeing someone who I'm assuming is a female, is a woman, say something like that about other women. I'm disgusted by it. The fact that anyone would type that is disgusting. And again, we don't have to agree. Oh, well. Yep. Oh, well. Oh, well. All religions are filled. I mean, I'm a Christian, Johnny. It's not a religion. Yes, there are those in in a lot of religions. But there are those that aren't in religions too. So you're saying all people that call themselves Christians are whack jobs and Looney Tunes? No matter what they say or how they act or how they've shown? Oh, well, then go enjoy your life somewhere else, because I don't, why you think I'd want to keep you here after saying that, I don't know.
Please don't spam.
I get these every once in a while. The best are the ones. For the first 5 people that message me, Jesus is king, I will give $5,000. Religion is a choice. And again, as someone who believes something, we have the right to believe whatever we want. All of you do. Every one of us. It's not what we believe, it's how we live those beliefs in society that I am against. In general, especially Christianity. Hey, Eleanor.
And frankly, in terms of governance, we are free to practice any religion we want or free to practice no religion whatsoever. And the government is agnostic as to which choice we make. That's what the Establishment Clause of the Constitution is all about, folks.
Even anarchists, atheists, Muslims, agnostics, any of them. You are, believe what you want. Not these days. Oh no, it's still these days. Are they trying to create? Are people trying to change it? Sure. You will know them by their fruits. That's how I look at things, MK. It's not what I said. It's not what I say I believe. It's how I act. But that's the case with all of us, right? It's the same way I look at politics. I don't care what letter you put. I don't care if you call yourself a Democrat, a Republican, MAGA, Democratic Socialist, Communist, Socialist, Working Party, Libertarian, Green Party. I don't care. I really don't. I really don't care. I care what you stand for, what you will do. And yeah, some of it is taking a it's taking a leap. To some extent, it's always taking a leap. Morals are not inherently religious, correct? Morals are what society decides. Religion, by its very nature, does not make someone moral or not. Religion doesn't, you aren't moral, like morals didn't come from religions. Morals are just a thing that society, it's what you as a society believe. They're what you as a society believe. That is what morals are. Society used to consider it moral to have slaves. Over time, that changed. And hey, Rosa. And you as a Christian or a Muslim or one of the others can view things differently. Your morals can be different than society's morals, and that's okay. As long as those morals don't go farther or make things worse for people that live under a society of laws. Did you hear about the whole traffic? Which one? Which one? There have been far too many. Of course, they're not necessarily what the population accepts. I mean, no one is fully agrees on everything. Slavery was not moral in any way. Well, now we as a society see that and agree with it. Back then, that wasn't true. Yes, it in our minds it always was, but now I'm in the mood for jambalaya. And Kaj, I'm not justifying anything. I'm saying no one should have the right to tell someone else what they can do with their bodies. I wouldn't want someone telling me what I can do with my body. Why would I be okay with telling someone else what they can do with theirs? If I personally believe in taking responsibility if I caused a pregnancy, that's my choice. But that's my choice. I don't have a right to tell someone else what they can do with it. I can try and convince them. I could have a conversation and say, is this what you really want to do? I think that's okay. We all make choices and we can all should be able to have conversations. But I don't have any right to force somebody. You were not told you had to get a COVID vaccine in your body. Businesses have the right to have rules. All businesses have the right to have rules. Not to mention the fact that a vaccine is very, very different conversation, because that is a help for society, not a help for just yourself.
There's a societal interest in keeping people alive, and COVID was a communicable disease, but it isn't just limited to communicable diseases. For instance, we have seatbelt laws. Society has an interest in keeping you alive. That's why seatbelt laws are legal.
Businesses make rules about a lot of things. It's why they can test you for other illicit substances if they want. COVID was a litmus test to see how many people were compliant. Oh my gosh.
Wow. 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 What planet do you live on?
Oh. You got a lot of good ones today.
I'm so sorry, Prairie Wind. I'm so sorry.
I'm sorry, Prairie. No. And B&B, I have said that there are certain people that I cannot have conversations with. There are certain people that I cannot have conversations with. If you do not agree with my fundamentals, there's no conversation to have. Ah, nice one, Joe. You spend all day thinking about that one? And hi, Aaron. I didn't say hi, and I apologize. Hello, how is Minnesota? I mean, it's important to remember how many people have lost their life from a lot of things due to purveyors of conspiracies. America is not, it's not abnormal. Next week I will not be going live, at least during the day. You love the flock cameras too. We know you do. Okay. I've never given an opinion on flock cameras. Next week, it'll probably be in the evening. I don't know exactly what time, like after dinner my time. So I'm doing audio video for a kids music theater company, and they've got a show going on over the next 2 weeks. And starting tomorrow, I will be there from the morning to the afternoon every day. So I mean, my wife went to school for nursing. I know vaccines are good. No question. I know lots of doctors. I know people that helped create the vaccine. I know people that helped create it. And I trust them more than anybody on Fox News. Congratulations, Mark. Talking like I know every vaccine is not made the same. You're not upholding the Constitution. But thanks for playing. Doctors and scientists love money, bruh. So do the people that are online telling you to not take those things. Yeah, not more than the president. He loves money. Morning, Teach. I'm just scared of needles. And that's understandable.
Well, I'm scared of needles too, but I always get my shots. And what I do is I just stare in the other direction. That way you don't have to see the needle going in.
Against universal health care. I still think it's hilarious that people are against it. I single payer healthcare would be the single greatest help to the American people of almost anything else we could do in this country. I think the only other thing that we could do is make it so that would help more is make it so people could not take out loans based on their wealth without paying taxes. Well, there's no such thing as a perfect system. Especially if you don't ever make any changes. So the Senate pays for their health care too. I just want to make that clear. They may not have before, but they actually do now. They may get a massive discount, but they don't get it for free. They actually do have to pay for it through the Affordable Care Act, which is hilarious, by the way. When you see MAGA, what type of life do you think they want back? Believe they think they believe and want back. One where people that look like me run everything and control everything and have all the power. Unless you're elderly or a child, you're okay. Whatever, dude. These people have no idea what life used to be like before vaccines existed. Like, these people literally have no clue about what life was like before vaccines existed. Gonna start a conspiracy theory about morticians. We all know what condition they like people in. It's true. It's true. We all know. We know. See you, Candy. Mark Cox. I believe Trump thought they were going to. Sure. Yeah, none of them know what it was like with polio and smallpox and all the other things that existed.
Yeah, quite right. You have to be pretty much my age. I do remember people with polio when I was a small child because it was still around, but even then it was quickly being eradicated. Mitch McConnell had polio as a child.
And again, no one, and I'm telling you this as someone who has, someone who was trained in nursing in my family and knows a lot of nurses. No one should ever trust anything 100%. You should always ask questions. You should always learn. You should always try and understand. But this idea that these things only exist because of money completely ignores the amount of work that these scientists do on a daily basis. The scientists in general depends on the vaccine. No, it doesn't. Each vaccine works a different way. Some do different things, but no, it doesn't depend on the vaccine. And we have done nothing to fix that problem. Enchantress. I mean, Iran is, nothing has changed. Early in my career, I took care of women who were vent dependent because of polio. And yeah, and again, this isn't a bad thing. It's a bad thing because of how it's been handled since, which is kind of how we got to where we're at. But the fact that the things that were put in place to make things better, whether you're talking vaccines or work safety or all the other things that have existed to make life better, the fact that they worked to the point that people are to the point of wondering whether we still need them is not actually a bad thing. The bad thing is how we as a society have responded moving forward to actually getting people to understand and learn and grow and push forward. And it doesn't help that we've got a government that has been shown to be universally corrupt in a majority of cases. That hasn't helped. And I understand that hasn't helped. But to sit here and just say they're all bad because of it, that's ignorant. OSHA, FEMA, EPA, USDA, national parks, yeah. Yeah. Yeah, the new Air Force One, that was hilarious, actually. Obviously, there was part of me that was pissed off because we wasted so much money, but also hilarious. No, it's MAGA that in general are pretty ignorant right now. And hi, Di. How are you doing, my friend? Cultivation of knowledge and cultivation of wealth are not analogous. Hello.
Hello, hello. It's Thursday, right?
It is Thursday.
Okay, just making sure.
All day long, Di. How are you?
I'm doing all right. I did watch some of the Bolanche crap yesterday. Oops, sorry. That's not very professional. I watched
It
some
was
of that.
crap. It was crap. We were watching it live, some of it, and it was crap.
I ran out of popcorn to throw at the TV. So, well, once you're out of popcorn, you got to stop watching it.
Well, Di, I don't know what your opinion is. I already stated mine. I thought that, there's a low bar set for Blanche yesterday because the obvious comparison was to Pam Bondi, and she was a disaster.
Yep.
I thought that the modern way, and ever since Judge Bork, the modern way of getting through congressional hearings is to deflect.
Mm-hmm.
And I thought that Mr. Blanche did avoid the major potholes. He deflected, didn't answer questions, but did it in a fairly slick manner. What was your opinion?
I would agree. Again, it was just a bit. I felt like several times, I don't know if anyone spent much time doing trials. There's a moment during that cross-examination where, because you're hunting, right? You're hunting for the evidence you need from the witness. And so there's always that moment where you're like, I just got it. Just got what I needed. And there were several moments with him yesterday where he's like, well, yeah, I'm his lawyer. Or, well, we talked about it, blah, blah, blah. Every time he went down that road, I was like, ka-ching, ka-ching, ka-ching. So that was good. But I don't know. I want to do a live to kind of analyze his body language is what I was thinking I'd do next, because that's really what like 80% is watching body language to figure out if they're telling the truth or not.
I mean, and here's the problem, and I know a lot of people probably feel the same way. There was part of me that was watching it and going, I don't know if it matters. Like he could have straight up lied, and I still think that too many of those Republicans would have voted for him.
Well,
Mhm.
confirmation hearings by their very nature have become theater. They're not really a search for truth. And I do agree with Di. I was looking at the acting attorney general's body language, and I think he has a distinct tell. And I don't know if Di or Mike or anybody in chat caught this. When he is prevaricating or deflecting, he tends to lean forward and hunch his shoulders a little bit. Did you see the little shoulder hunch? His head goes down a little bit, and that's when he's prevaricating.
Mhm. I can see that. I mean, I didn't pick it up at the time, but when you make yourself a little bit smaller, that's how you kind of get your defensive moment in with body language. So I would agree that there were several tells. I'll need some time to analyze it though.
Oh, and when Katie Britt was asking questions, I just wanted to just vomit. She was just
That's
like, oh, everything is so wonderful and we love you and everything you and the president are doing is great. Here, let me bake you a cake.
Well, I don't know who was more nauseating, Katie Britt or Marsha Blackburn. They are both considered probably the dumbest people in the Senate, and they showed it yesterday.
Yes. I think it's the theater though, just as a quick side note. I think it is theater because ultimately, no one's going to be really changing their mind and changing their votes. But I think it's to get information out to the public that we didn't
Oh yeah.
have before.
And I'm not saying don't do it. I think it's important to do it. I think it's important for us to point out these things because it's how it helps teach us as we move forward. I'll bring up Pash just so you know I'm getting off in like 15 minutes. But I'll definitely bring you up. Lynn, God does not care about America. I love
What?
Sorry, he doesn't. America means nothing to God. America, if you were a Christian, God doesn't know borders. Borders don't exist. He could care less. So when you say God bless America, it makes you look dumb. In my opinion.
Borders are a social construction, ladies and gentlemen.
Hey, Pash.
Also, good morning. Hi. Ooh, happy Thursday.
Yeah. Yeah.
I would agree with what everybody's just said, but I think there was one vote that actually is not determined yet, and this person used his questioning time to actually try and ascertain the truth. And of course, I'm referring to Senator Cornyn from Texas. He does seem genuinely conflicted, and you could tell that he was a former prosecutor the way he questioned Blanche, and I think he had Blanche on the back foot. And I'm referring obviously to the slush fund.
Yeah.
He was awarded a Pathbreaker Award by my last organization that I worked for working against domestic minor beep trafficking.
Are you referring to Senator Cornyn or to the Attorney General?
Cornyn.
Okay. Yeah, I thought Senator Cornyn gave had the most probative questioning of all the senators. I mean, Senator Whitehouse did exactly what you would expect him to do. Senator Schiff did exactly what you would expect him to do. But Senator Cornyn, pretty much stayed on point. And boy, he didn't let Blanche prevaricate when he was asking questions. He really nailed them down.
I thought Whitehouse was going to explode, honestly. He only had a few minutes and he was asking these questions, but you could see he was like holding back the rage. And I was like, let it go, man. Let's do this. But I mean, it was so apparent that he was so angry.
Oh yeah.
Well, he's angry for a reason. Pam Bondi is Pam Bondi, but Blanche is he's dangerous, and White House was trying to get that point across. Again, who did he get it across to? Probably, in fairness, only people who would vote against the nomination anyway. But yeah, he almost seemed personally insulted by the very essence of Todd Blanche.
I agree.
And did you see I saw there was another hearing going on. I don't know if it was on the same day or it was a different day, to try and get through the nominee for the CDC. And the one who's the doctor was like just flipping out on her because everything that he was talking about, she was like, I don't know anything about any of this. And it's like, it's stuff that if you are in this world at all, you know, like what they're talking about. I've never seen someone come in as ill prepared as this woman did. And it's like, you want to become the head of the CDC and you don't know what's going on anywhere? I forget who it was, but he flipped out.
Mm-hmm.
They had the same experience with Linda McMahon when they were grilling her. She had no answers to offer. I don't remember what that hearing was, but she's like, let me look into that. Let me look into that, just over and over again. It's like, what?
Well, that's why they've become theater. They're so afraid of stepping on a landmine that they would rather dodge, distract, and prevaricate rather than answer questions. The hearing that I found more interesting than Blanche was for the new director of this DNI. Mm-hmm. He came across as so pompously arrogant. He was so dismissive of questions being asked to him that I found that rather disconcerting and astounding at the same time.
I look at these hearings kind of like making a record. Like we're not necessarily going to get further with this, but we're making a record where we can use the lies and the information that they said themselves to back us up in the future, because that's what's going to happen. Yeah. He's going to come in and he's going to say, nope, I never said that. And it's like, click, why don't you play that clip over and over again? So to me, it's like that initial deposition that you're going to be able to use to fact check him later.
Well, and so I think there are a few things that come with that. One, I agree. I totally agree. And I think the only thing that always gives me pause when we say that is it doesn't help anything if we as a society don't actually hold them to it after. And that's something that we've been really bad as a whole, as a country, of doing, which is because there's, I mean, before this man who is now president got into office the first time, there were some things on tape that were, you know, for 99% of the people probably would have disqualified him to even be the nominee, let alone get voted into office. And yet it still happened. And, you know, so I agree with you. And I think it's absolutely true that we can have these and we can use them as long as we actually do something more than just talk about it.
Well, the other piece of that though is, are we looking for? Oh wait, hold on. It just left my mind. It just left. I'm so sorry. Hold on, I gotta go catch it. Just a minute. I'll be back.
Okay. I mean, I think no.
I remember now. Okay. I'm sorry, I'm back again. This apparently is my life now. I hope that's all right.
It's great.
You have good company in that department. I promise you.
My question was, is no one really paying attention, like with or doing anything about it, or do we have a media issue? I keep thinking about that too. Like we definitely
do.
the big what do we call those, like the old school media stuff, like how are they covering this? I mean, how are they going about it? And so I'm wondering if that's really part of the deal too, because if you get up and you look at the news and you're like everything's okay, then you just go back to bed and you don't pay attention to what's going on.
But
That's the bedrock
but
of
doesn't
our
it
issue right now.
but doesn't it still come down to the problem of what we've said this before, because the hard part with media and all this other stuff is, when does it come to the point of you know, who decides what's misinformation, who decides what's lies, all this other stuff. And in the end, it's always, at least up until a point, it's always been society that has ended up deciding it. If a media organization, like media organizations, care more about rage baiting than they do about being honest about what's going on, telling the facts about what's going on, it's really more just getting people to get angry. Until we change how we interact with media, until we get to a point where we're not giving these organizations the clicks that they're looking for, which is all that matters to all of them, especially now that right-wing people own like 90% of them, I think we're going to struggle to get past that problem.
I think one of the things that we're missing, though, is a set of rules that everyone agrees on. We've kind of talked about this before, when everyone's kind of changing what different things mean. And, when we get to that question of, well, which one is it? Is it this guy's or is it that person's? That's something I've been thinking about quite a bit. Like we need one book, right? One dictionary that we all can agree on and go forward from there. That's one of the biggest issues now. So here's what my thought is, and I've been thinking about this for a while now. My thought is, instead of being like, well, what do the MAGAs think? What's their definition? Or, what's the left or the super far left or, whatever, Marshmallow Man, we don't know where they all at. But I was looking and, I've taught evidence for like a decade. And I kept thinking, like, if everybody could agree that the rules are the federal rules of evidence when it comes to authenticating it, when it comes to the form it's in and what's allowed, everybody needs to just learn the rules of evidence and then use that book in order to make that determination.
But the problem is that I've seen on social media, at least, I mean, Parker and Dean are a little bit of gotcha creators, and they're looking for clicks in that respect. But like, they will always say stuff. They will confront face to face a Trump supporter, say Biden did all of this. They say throw him in jail, and then he's like, actually, ... Then they turn heel and turn around. So that's really the nut you have to crack, is that acceptance level when the evidence is presented. Like, this amount of mind control that MAGA is currently under will be studied by sociology professionals for years to come.
And
it's wild.
And it also,
and not just sociologists. Donald Trump has done one great service to a segment of the American population, and I'm referring to historians. He has single-handedly guaranteed that the study of history will at least continue for the next 50 years, because there are going to be an awful lot of books written about how this all could have happened.
And also, and again, Di, I 100% agree with you. I love the idea of having something that we all agree on. In the end, the chances of getting all of us to agree on anything is probably pretty slim. It is a large country, and we have set it up in such a way that every state feels like they are different and cares about different things, partially because they just live in different realities because of it. And I mean, I'd be for it. I'd be 100% for it. I struggle to see a place we can't even agree on the idea of humanity as a country. I struggle to find a way to come to that kind of agreement on all this other stuff. I hope I'm wrong. I hope I'm wrong. And if we can figure out a way, let's do it. Let's let's start the conversation. Let's see if we can figure it out. I mean,
I would
Yeah.
say even yesterday when they were talking, it wasn't Blanche, but it was the other guy. And he was saying, he was being asked, like, who won the 2020 election? And the guy's like, well, you
Yeah.
know, this, that, and the other. And so they're saying, no, this is just a very simple question. Who won 2020? And he continued to go on and just say, deny and not answer it. Something like that, that's just a basic fact. Is
Fundamental.
right, that we can't agree on, even though it's like a fact. That's
sure.
disappointing.
And
That's almost like asking, well, do you believe the world is flat? Well,
Oh
it's a
God.
matter of opinion. It's
Mhm.
no, it's not. It's
God.
not. It's a demonstrable fact.
My husband goes into this is a whole industry on TikTok, by the way. That is a wild section of TikTok, is flat Earth TikTok.
sure.
I don't know why it's a thing. God bless America.
Voter fraud. Illegals are not voting, Matt.
They're not voting. Voter fraud is
Undocumented immigrants are not voting.
100%.
The idea that people think that these people would leave horrible situations to try and make a new life in this country and then do something that they are almost guaranteed to be caught doing and then get absolutely get deported is wild, that you think that that's actually happening.
Even our citizens don't go and vote. Like, what are we even talking about?
Yeah.
Voter fraud is there is no large scale voter fraud in the United States.
It's a lie.
It's a lie. It doesn't exist.
How will they get caught?
As the 63 court cases already showed Donald Trump after the 2020 election, where his own lawyers later had to admit under oath that they had no proof of voter fraud. None.
Yep.
Matt, when you mean how will they get caught? Do you obviously don't understand how elections
You ever voted?
work.
Yeah, what do you-
Because there's more to an election than just the actual act of voting.
Oh my goodness.
Like, there is a whole process to verify your vote before it gets officially counted. And you don't seem to get that.
There's a lot he doesn't get. Matt, I can give you something if you would bother to read it. A source, and his name is Ginsburg. He is the Republicans' leading elections expert and attorney, who has led the Republican legal arm for over 40 years. And he wrote a 70-page paper on the election of 2020 outlining that there is no substantive voter fraud in America, period. Never has been.
Presenting an ID to vote is the only way to prove you are a citizen. Okay.
Have you registered to vote at all, Matt? Have you registered?
think he has.
Are you registered in whatever area you're in? All right. Did you have to give any information when you registered? And not only that, but are you just like a bot? Because that's a really lame thing that you're saying.
That's wild. And this is the Dunning-Kruger effect, where someone who knows absolutely nothing about what they're talking about speaks the loudest about it.
Bingo.
Maybe he's a bot. I'm going to go look and see if he's a bot.
Bingo.
bot?
Exactly right.
And I present your my ID to vote in Texas. Okay. I present my ID to vote in North Carolina.
What does that have to do with
Northern
registering to vote? And do you know that both machine and paper ballots and mail-in ballots are counted 2 and 3 times? Do you also know that in the election of 2020, all of the 7 states swing states did engage in recounts that affirmed the original findings of the various election boards? Do you know that? Of course you don't know that.
You don't understand how voting works. There is verification upon verification. Mail-in ballots does not introduce fraud, you numbnuts.
Mail-in ballots are actually counted more times and checked out more times than a vote made by machine.
Mail-in ballots are safer. No, because we
Caretaker.
know how elections work, Matt.
That's
It's
right.
all data
What
driven, Matt.
one of the
Yeah,
And
things
right.
one of
Yes,
the
they
things that
are.
has one of the things that has been helpful that I think would be really great is to actually have people who've worked the polls and done the work in the elections to prep it and then are with it all day. I've been lucky. I've got a couple of people. I've got someone in New York who's absolutely amazing and will walk us through the voting process. And even just a few days ago, I had another woman who's been involved in Georgia's elections too. Now, these aren't political people. There's people coming in and explaining how it works, right? So you do this, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then we do this, and then this happens, and walking people through so you have some idea of how the elections work. Because that's kind of important.
Matt isn't interested in any of that.
Oh, I
No.
forgot about Matt.
Yeah, Matt is not interested in any of that. Paisley had it right when she what she said before. That was exactly it.
If all
Mhm.
mail-in elections are fraud, then why did the president of the United States vote via mail-in election?
Do, 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 do.
That's an interesting question. Also, like in the past, then did they ever vote by mail before, like Pony Express? I'm
If
just curious.
if our elections are so bad, why have the only times that the person who is president and the people that support him screamed fraud the most have been when he and his administration and his people were in charge? And no one screamed election fraud when Obama was president. No one screamed election fraud after the after the 2024
He
election.
had a respectful
And not for
run-in.
nothing, it was Republicans who encouraged voting by mail long before Democrats did. And there were more Republicans vote cast by mail before Donald Trump decided to turn on it. And in fact, his 2020 reelection campaign had developed what was known as the Death Star, a massive vote by mail effort that Donald Trump torpedoed after they spent $1 billion on it.
Ambrosia, I'm not bringing you up only because it's 12 and I've got to get off because I've got some stuff I've got to do this afternoon. Guys, 9 p.m. Eastern time, I will be back on to watch whatever the shit show that will be going on with this announcement tonight. Starting tomorrow and through all of next week, I will be going live in the evening. I know you go live in the evening. We should try and plan something fun for an evening live to do stuff like you were talking about. But yeah, I'll be going live in the evenings for the next week because I'm gonna be working a show, a kid's doing Peter Pan Jr. I'm gonna be doing lights and sound for it. So guys, thank you so much for being here. Thank you for the likes, the shares, and the gifts. You guys are so friggin' generous. It always boggles my mind how nice you are. And just so everyone knows, things, what time? Probably like 7 p.m. Eastern-ish is probably when I'll end up going live. I'm not exactly sure yet. I got to figure out a couple things, but that's probably pretty close to what it's going to be. But I was looking at going, so in Tennessee, they're doing a 1,000-mile march thing, which is really cool. For those of you that know Amanda's Mild Takes, she's part of it. They're doing this whole thing in Tennessee, going through like Alabama and all these other places to help get people out to vote, to pay attention to states' ballots, things like that. And I was going to try and go to Nashville to meet up with them when they went through that area or an area near it and get some stuff. It was over $500 to fly from Charlotte to Nashville. I don't know. That's an 8-hour drive.
What? $500 for a little hop like that?
$500 for that hop. Yep.
That's outrageous.
I know. And the person that I was going to meet up with, we're like, oh, if you go to Huntsville, Alabama, that's actually closer to where she is, and we were going to go up together. It was $700, over 700 for me to fly to Huntsville, Alabama.
Oh my gosh.
That's an up and down. That's still crazy. That's still crazy. I used to be able to fly to Boston, Massachusetts for $150 round trip.
Whoa.
And it's $500. I think the last time that we went up, it was the most recent was $300 for a round trip. But that's like double the length, over double the length than it is from here to Nashville. So this is why I got to figure out a way to increase and grow and all this stuff, because I want to keep doing these traveling things, but dang, is $500 for a flight hard right now. So anyways, guys, thank you so much for being here. I will see you tomorrow. I'll see you tonight. If I don't see you tonight, I'll see you tomorrow evening. You guys are amazing just the way you are, and I love you all very much. Stay safe, stay healthy. Remember to sing, laugh, dance, smile. Do something that makes you happy. Bye, guys.
Bye.